Hi, EdHeroes. I extend my warmest welcome to everyone joining online from all over the world. It's a pleasure to be here to share a bit about my expertise field, finance. My name is Taeyong Shim, CEO at Miri Asset Securitas Indonesia.
Our company offers a range of services including stock brokerage, investment banking, and mutual funds, to name a few. We also conduct financial education throughout Indonesia on a regular basis. Understanding financial concepts can help individuals better navigate financial challenges, cope with economic fluctuations, and safeguard financial well-being. It is crucial for achieving financial stability and preparing your long-term goals. Integrating financial education with cultural heritage is important as it respects and incorporates traditional values, beliefs, and practices into modern financial management strategies. By aligning financial planning with cultural heritage, communities can preserve their identities while promoting sustainable economic development and intergenerational wealth transfer. Over the next 20 minutes, let's dive into the world of financial planning.
Life cycle financial planning. Sun Tzu, the author of Art of War, wrote that if you know the enemy and if you know yourself, you can fight 100 battles and you will not be in peril. Then, let's know our enemy. The first enemy is inflation. If you bought a movie ticket back in 1992 in Jakarta, the movie ticket would have cost you 7,000 rupiah. Fast forward about 20 years, the same movie ticket is now 40,000 rupiah, and fast forward another 10 years, and the movie price ticket jumped another 50%. At the end of the day, the value of goods and services are going higher every single year. Second enemy is low interest rates. There was a time when interest rates used to be about 40%. Over the multiple decades, Indonesia's interest rates were hovering around somewhere in the double-digit range. However, right now it's 3% range. If you consider interest rates the value of money on the other side is falling. Thirdly, you have to consider tax your enemy. If you take a look at Indonesia, where it stands in the Asian countries in terms of tax, we are in the upper range. And the tax revenue in Indonesia has been creeping up ever since data has been compiled since 2000. So we are seeing a tax revenue in Indonesia creeping up every single year. Now, a normal structure of a society might look like this, whereby more younger people will support the elderly. However, these days, the young people are less interested in forming families. So there are less babies born these days. So if this structure continues to sustain, at the end of the day, it's going to be a very big burden for the society to support an oversized elderly social structure. And that is the reason why tax rate is not going to come down anytime soon. So in summary, there are three enemies. Number one is inflation. Number two is low interest rates, aka the value of dollar is falling. And number three, tax. Now let's move on to understanding yourself. Now this is the life cycle hypothesis. The black line represents the income curve, whereas the red line represents consumption. So in the early days, after you graduate from school, you'll find a job, you will get married, and you will have a baby, you'll purchase a home, your children will go to school, they will go to universities, your children will get married, and you will retire, and your income will go up and down. You need to know what is going to happen in your life in order to correctly plan your financials going forward. Now, the most important thing is that every event that's going to happen in your life is going to come at a cost. Whether it's buying a car, purchasing a home, or preparing your child's tuition, it will all involve costs. The problem is all of those events that's going to come in your life is not going to, the price of what's going to happen in your life is not going to stand still. Say, for example, here's Ayla, a small car that everybody loves. Now, Ayla, in 2013, the price of a manual transmission 1000cc was priced at 90,950,000 rupiah. Fast forward, and now Ayla, the price of Ayla is 134 million rupiah, representing a 47 increase in the car price. And this is a very serious risk, because if you consider the inflation, 20-year average, 6.1%, but my salary is going to go up 10%, so it should be fine. No, because the car price of 150 million rupiah, if you factor in the 6.1% increase, the increment itself is 9 million rupiah, whereas your salary on a monthly basis, the value is 5 million rupiah, and if you increase it by 10%, it only represents 500,000 rupiah per month. So everything in your life is going to go up, and it will be just like a donkey looking at this carrot that you're never going to catch. And the most important thing is your retirement, right? How much do you need to retire here in Indonesia? According to Google, it says $1,500 per month, right? Indonesia's retirement age is 56 years old, and the life expectancy right now is 72 years old. So assuming that you retire at 56, you will need 4.3 billion rupiah, right? No. Actually, no, because by the time you reach 72 years old, the medical technology will have increased and you will probably live to 100 years or even more, which means that if you're not well prepared, then your older life is not going to be so rosy. So in summary, you need to know what's going to happen in your life. You need to know yourself. You need to know what is going to happen and how to prepare rather than not doing anything. Because most people, they're so tired, they don't really care about what's going to happen in your life. But as we've seen in the fable, the three little pigs, the one who survived was the one who was prepared the most. Now let's take a look at your financial goals. Your financial goals should be divided into short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Interestingly, whether you're rich or poor, the resources are the same. Rich people still use BCA Bank, and poor people also use BCA Bank. Also, they have the same access to the brokers like Miri Asset Securitas, and they have access to all the insurers here in Indonesia. So you need to be very efficient when it comes to selecting your financial institution, but also dividing your goals and making use of all of those financial institutions. Now, the basic rule of financial goal is divided into three categories: short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Short-term, the duration is going to be less than 2 years. Say, for example, you're going to prepare for your marriage. Of course, principal protection is the most important factor here, because if you lose that money, you're not going to be getting married, right? So it has to be easily converted into cash. Midterm goals should have a mixture of principal protection and also investment component in your financial planning, such as buying a car. So our suggested mix is protection versus investment, 60-40 or 70-30. Long-term investments require you to invest more than 10 years. And if you are planning something for more than 10 years, such as retirement, there is no way that you can have a principal protection. There is no financial products like deposit that gives you 10-year duration or even more. So there has to be a fully investment component into that long-term goals. The wealth formula is pretty simple, right? Wealth is equal to, your wealth generation is equal to how much your income is and how much you spend, which we call net investments. which is multiplied by the return rate powered by the number of years. However, in this simple wealth formula, you need to understand what you can control and what you cannot control. First of all, can you control income? No, you cannot control your income. You don't know how much your salary is going to be adjusted next year. But of course you like it higher, but the sad thing is that you cannot control. Can you control your spending? Yes, you can control your spending. And in this case, you want it to be low because you want to increase your net investments. Can you anticipate what your return rate is if you're investing in the stock market? Not really. But of course you want it higher, but you cannot control it. Last but not least, can you control the time or years that you stayed invested? Yes, you can. And you can invest forever. Now, the most important thing in your wealth formula is controlling your spending. So we advise you to sit down over the weekend with your loved ones and jot down every single spending component that you have on a monthly basis. Like say, for example, service charge, groceries, transportation, telephone, entertainment, and emergency. Jot down everything and say, for example, if your monthly income is 20 million rupiah per month and your spending is 16 million per month, your net investment is going to be 4 million rupiah per month. That can actually go into investments. But the reality and the theory is there's quite a big gap, right? Because typically in real life, your financial planning doesn't actually work because you don't factor in the unexpected and unplanned spending items, such as your family birthdays, anniversaries, travel, clothes and beauties. So in this case, we advise you to have two separate accounts. One salary account, one ad hoc account. The salary account should have income and very stable spending, expected spendings. So your monthly net investments will not be interrupted. The net investments should always be the same amount. On the other account, you will have your ad hoc account, whereby during the end of the year bonus season, you need to plan for next year's ad hoc spendings and budget it there so that you can pull out that money in times of those unexpected or planned recurring events. Now, we need to discuss about goals and investment options. First of all, let's discuss about short-term goals, such as going on vacation. You decide to go to Seoul, a perfect destination for your summer holidays. The flight, hotels, meals, and everything you calculate, which adds up to 30 million rupiah. Now, in this case, we have prepared 2.5 million rupiah worth of monthly investments, and your investment return would be 30,659.53 rupiah if you invest in the capital money market fund. Now, obviously, the investment principal will be 30 million rupiah, so your net return, the actual return, will only be 659,000 rupiah. Yes, it's not that big. However, the most important thing here is that you have committed to saving this amount. That is the most successful factor that you can derive from this short-term goal. And I want this savings or investing to be your regular habit. Now, secondly, we have the midterm goals, such as buying a car. And here we will bring our old Ayla, which cost 134 million rupiah. Now, in this scheme, we suggest principal protection of 60% and investment component of 40%. And we have a mixture of deposits and investments in fixed income mutual fund, a total of 2 million rupiah per month. The bank will yield 82,099,367 rupiah, whereas your fund will yield 51,126,617 rupiah, which totals 133 million rupiah versus the principal of 120 million rupiah. And with that return, you'll be able to buy your dream car. Long-term goals, such as retirement, which you will have to save for, invest for about 30, 20, 30, even 40 years, right? Retirement plans, typically require a very thorough analysis of yourself, your life cycle, your family situation, income and spending. So each person will be very, very different. However, the basic rule of thumb is whenever you start, divide your age by 2. Let's say, for example, I'm 30 years old. Divide by 2, it's 15, and put a percentage after the 15. So the 15% will be the amount of money you need to set aside against your monthly income. So the earlier you start, the better. Now, because it requires a thorough analysis of yourself and your life cycle, it is very important to consult with a financial advisor. In this case, we would recommend you speak with our Mirai Asset representatives. The moral of the story goes like this. First, you need to know your enemy. The 3 enemies are inflation, low interest rates, and tax. You need to know yourself. You need to understand your life cycle and what's going to happen in your life. And you need to be able to identify so that you can prepare and you can plan your financials. When you plan for your financials, set your goals. The goals should be divided into short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Under the wealth formula, controlling your spending and investing over the long horizon is the crucial part of success. And if you decide to invest over the long term and begin with mutual funds. Last but not least, consult with our Mirai Asset representatives. Thank you.